Hi guys, and welcome to the blocking of Robo. This is just the blocking section of this very long tutorial series that I did for my subscribers on request. This is for the guys. Usually I do this stuff really fast and I skip through it and cut all the corners for you guys that don't like very long tutorials. This is not the normal sort of tutorial on the site, but for my subscribers that wanted me to go a little bit slower and take every step by step and actually show my thought process a lot more clearly, this is for you guys. So this is the blocking of this character, just a model. This is goes for about an hour, explaining every step. Just a couple things to know here, and one of them is I'm using a lot of hotkeys. These are the hotkeys that come with the site subscription. So I've changed all of my hotkeys around. This makes it a lot quicker to especially model in and animate and do a lot of things. That's been completely reshuffled. So the hotkeys here are the ones on the site. Now, a few of you guys, there's a lot of flashy ZBrush demos around, and I also use a lot of ZBrush too. I love that program. But here, you might be surprised just to do polygon modeling, and that is because this is going to be a rigged production model. So we do need to get it back into Maya, nice light mesh. So it is actually a little bit easier to start in polys rather than starting in sculpting and then having to retopologize and do all that stuff there. And need a mesh, you got a lot more control over the shapes and you get these really nice clean forms. So there are advantages to polygon modeling. And in fact, when you're in the industry where most of the jobs are, it is requiring to get your models to move. They don't just sit there looking pretty on ArtStation. So it is a good idea to know polygon modeling skills, and it's a highly, highly sought after skill. So here you go, guys. Enjoy this, the blocking of Robo. Okay, hi guys, here we are. I'm going to model this character and I'm going to do it in real time this time. I've had a few requests to do longer time lapses, so this is not for everyone. This is for people who are willing to listen to me yabba and yabba around. I don't know what I'm going to say. I've never really done a long time lapse like this, but we'll get started on a fairly simple character. No idea how long this will take. I haven't preempted this. I haven't thought about anything. This is a character from my good friend Guy Jamison. It's his company. He's doing a little pitch for the character, and if the pitch doesn't work out, then we'll give this tutorial out to you guys. These are sort of quick throwaway characters, but they could be really cool if you were to put them in the right story, and that's what Guy sort of pitched to me, so we're going to try this out and see how it goes. Robots are nice and easy characters. This is a very simple one. Something to just be aware of is that everyone tries to do these crazy hard characters, and I see all my students doing them, and it's like heartbreaking to watch someone who's new to 3D or even like reasonably experienced in 3D and take on a really difficult character. And I'm talking like Frozen difficulty level of character. Like people don't sort of think of a Frozen character from Disney as being a particularly difficult character. They think that it's kind of stylized and nice and whatever. But push comes to shove when we start making those characters with people who are even fairly decent at uni, 3 years of uni. I see these characters and I see how long they take, and it's just not worth it, guys. You want to get through the process quickly, and then you want to do it again, and you want to, by the time you get to those Frozen characters, you want to be doing them quickly. You don't want to spend a year and a half doing a Frozen characters, as I've seen many students do, to get it to the quality that a professional will actually go, hey, yeah, that's good enough that I'll give you a job. Whereas these cute little robots or cute little characters, we can get them up and animating really fast, like super fast, and they can look quite appealing. And this is really important because what I say to people is if you've got a character or a piece that you put on your reel and it looks appealing like it will be on TV, we're just talking about a TV level of quality. Like if you could see this on TV, you're probably going to get hired. But if you're choosing something that's way too hard for yourself and for whatever reason you don't quite hit the mark, like it's admirable, like you've chosen a hard character and you've gotten close. People who are hiring just will think of your reel as like, hey, but I can't put that on TV, so I think I'm just not going to hire this person. And that's really, really bad for you because you don't get the job. But if you pick an easier project, doesn't have to be the most amazing thing ever, then you can get in and get that job. And the most important thing for a lot of graduates is getting the job, just getting in the door, get your foot in the door, because then you're doing 3D full time. And when you get to sort of my level and you've got like 15 years of experience plus, I started this stuff in 99, it's now 2000 and end of 2016. Actually, I started this in 98. It's been a long time. Like you start to be able to do the Frozen characters quickly, the harder stuff, you can pull it all off. And people always ask me, why aren't you demoing that hard stuff? Well, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing this easy stuff to show you that even this easy stuff is actually quite difficult when you're starting off. It's just learning the grammar of what you're doing, and you want to build upon that, sort of those mastery level of basics, go through the easy stuff, and we'll get into the hard stuff later. So do a few of these, do like 10 of them, have them all walking and running around and acting and doing things. And by the time you get to those frozen characters, it's going to be nice and easy going, and you're just being a smart artist. I'm not saying don't do the hard stuff like dragons and orcs and stuff, but just like do it in order so that you're not overextending, because that's the biggest thing that people do. Even in the industry, everyone overextends. It's quite crazy watching it. I overextend. It's just human nature. So we're not going to do any typing. Let's close this down. We're just in Photoshop. So really quickly, I don't like having a white background on my things. They're kind of bad when we get into Maya. So let's just create a gray background. So you can just, already got a 50% gray here. We can go a bit darker because Maya does have a bit of a dark background, but whatever, just a darkish gray. Don't have to be too accurate. So I've just filled that with Alt Backspace. So get to know your hotkeys. I will put the hotkeys on here. Let's see if it works. I might have to pause it. Sometimes it doesn't. There we go. Looks like it is working. All right, we're back. So I got my hotkeys going. Let's now put this on multiply. So it's just a multiply layer. That just will show everything through the back of it. Now that dims everything down. It's not a true green of the character, but it will look fine in Maya. We've got good enough stuff to follow. Sometimes when you've got a really bad sketch, this is quite a good one. You could, because professional character design, you could actually do a bit of contrasting. So, bring up the levels. That's Control L, I think, on PC. And you can really start to sort of push that together, and that will get you a cleaner line that you can see in 3D. That's not too bad, actually, even for me. I think I might go with that. It's just a contrast. It's just putting the blacks and the whites together. So that's looking pretty good. So basically what we've got is a white blown out image now, but the black will be like that. So the next thing is the rulers, and Guy's done a great job with his artists on this one, and everything sort of matches. But it is important that if you are doing your own sketches, not recommended. I recommend taking professional work off the internet. Looks better, easier. Don't design your own characters unless you're uber good, and most people think they're good, but when you compare it to a professional, like most people go, oh, I'm a really good artist, and they'll say, show me your work, and to a professional, we're real snobs, man. We will hammer your work, and it won't look very good. Not sure why we got two here. Maybe that's a left and a right. It's the mouth opening, so that's fine. Mouth opening there, just seeing how that works, that's good. They've thought this through, this character design, that's great. Next thing, I'm just going to take this one. We've definitely taken the one with the mouth operational, and something like that. So let's now just come in, and what you want to do is you want to make an image that is consistent in size, because it's going to match in Maya. And we're going to take that guy, and we're going to take that guy. They're going to be our dudes. So we can kind of just come in here, copy that, just trim it, and then I'll merge these, and that's I think it's Control E or Apple E on Mac, and we can just really quickly fill that. Just fill, that's Apple Alt Backspace, and we'll get rid of this guy as well. Not needed. So Photoshop hotkeys are really good. Got a slight wrong color there, but that's okay. Undo that. Undo. And Photoshop's a bit weird. Let's just grab that color with the eyedropper, which is I. Get to know Photoshop. I don't really teach it much. It's just sort of a given. If you can't pick up Photoshop, you shouldn't be doing 3D. You need to know 3D is way more difficult than Photoshop. People underestimate just how difficult 3D is. It looks really easy when people like me do it, but it's not when you're starting out. So let's get that now. So the side view is basically done. That's it. Just get it done. So copy it now. And whenever you copy something in the clipboard in Photoshop, it will go, when you create a new one, we can paste it, and that's done. So that's ready. The different size is just the zoom when we're zoomed in a little bit here. So now we can crop the other side, and we're guaranteed that we're keeping the same height on these images. You can see. And this is kind of good because we've roughly marked the center line of him. And I'm just going to go roughly to the center, maybe a bit over. I want his head to be fairly symmetrical. Drawings like this, they always go off a bit symmetry. I don't bother to fix it in Photoshop. We can just do it in 3D, but you do want to kind of get it roughly. There are hotkeys for flipping stuff, I believe. Yeah, you could do it something like Apple T, Control T, flip horizontal. And you just want to have a look at, I've just done 2 layers there, just seeing that roughly it fits. Because this is going to be important when we're in Maya. So there we go, great, that's done too. So we've now got a front and a side, and we'll just save that out. Now before we do that, let's head over to Maya. So I haven't loaded it up yet. Look at all the crap I've got running. Going to be doing this in 2017. 2017 still a little bit rough around the edges, so let's see how we go. I might try and bug fix some things as I go, maybe set up some hotkeys if they're not working correctly. Try out some new workflows maybe. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So now that we're in Maya, we want to set a project directory. You always want to work out of project directories, always, always, always. So let's do that. And we're going into the set project, or the project window is the best one. And I always work out of my 3D projects. So have your own folder for that, but we just go new. And 3D projects for me is that guy there. And then for mine, I'm going to call this Magnificent Itch, because that's Guy's company. Go and check it out. Got some lovely work there. And I'm just not sure what these characters are called, but I should look that up. Oh, I might rename that later. Very easy to rename that later. Go accept. Okay, so that's created a bunch of folders in the 3D projects directory, and we've got Magnificent Itch there. I might move it later, but that's it. It's just created all that for us. It's easy as that. So now we've got somewhere to save this. Everyone doesn't work in project directories, and this is a mistake because everything gets problematic later. Save as. Okay, now I've got my 3D projects there, Magnificent Itch, and we'll go into source images. Source images is where all that belongs. We'll put it in a folder, and we call this ref for reference. And this guy is the front view. So just call robot. Call him robot 1 because there's a few robots for this thing. I might do a few of them. Robot 1 front. He's got a name, but I haven't got that far to learn it all yet. Embed profile. Take that off. I always take the embedder color profile off. For that, my monitor's got a bit of color correction on it. So that's that done. You could do it as a PNG. PNGs are lossless. Maybe a little bit bigger, but it's got a lot of gray, so it's probably going to be pretty good. File size. And then I like PNGs. Let's go this one. File, save as. Do the same thing. We want this to be a PNG as well. Embedded profile off, front, side. So that was easy, wasn't it? Okay, a lot of people. I talked for a lot at the start there, but that's really easy to set up. I'll often do that in my hour-long time lapse. I'll do the front and side setup. So now that we're here, let's set the project directory, which probably should be already set, but let's just do it again just in case. And now we need to create a scene. So we're off. This is our new scene. We want to make sure in the front view that is the X going that way, but it's not really a big deal. Front view, orthographic, spacebar, front view. Let's go File, select K for camera on my hotkeys, and we'll come into Attribute Editor. And we're going to go Environment, Create, and let's search for that one. Front. There's the front view. There he is. Side view, right view in this case. K for camera, selects the orthographic camera side, and we create another one. And what will happen is because we created these the same size in the 3D view now, there they are exactly the same size. Everything matches and will line up correctly. Okay, so you just got to make sure they will match. Now, that is the front, the X, so we know where the front, it's very easy to sort of come around to the back and think that's the front, but the X is going the wrong way. It needs to go that way. So that will be over there, and that guy will be over there. Now, before we do that, let's get our scale right, because when we do lighting and everything, we want to know it's good. Now, I know these guys are miniature. I actually don't know the exact size of them, but let's get it roughly right. I think they're a little about 15 to 20 centimeters high, so let's go Create, Measure Tools, Distance Tool. And we just do 2, it's just a locator, 2 locators. And then that one, you could do this just by creating a cube as well. But that one will be up at translate 20 on the Y-ish Okay, so that's how high we want him to be. So we'll grab them both and then scale them both up. You can see I've got them both selected. And what we want is we want him definitely... This is all the stuff that you don't do when you haven't done hundreds of characters, and just little things that make everything easier. Do it at the start and then you don't have to do it later. Put him on the ground, like there. Nice and easy, that's done. So see, everything's done now. So now we can just delete those guys, and really don't like the outliner. Yeah, I hate this new Maya thing. Quite figured out what they're doing with it yet. Let's just put it, you can sort of click that off. I hate things that you have to click on. Hotkeys, guys. God, don't they know how everything takes time in 3D. You want everything to be automated. Take those off. Delete, there's our image planes. I don't even bother to name them, it's obvious. We're gonna delete them. Okay, now they are there, that's cool. Let's make a layer, so add it. Add those objects by right clicking. Now you can see we can put them on, I call it reference mode. I think it is referenced, and now you can't select them. So to select them, we can select them here, or we can take it off R and then start selecting them like that. Very easy to do that. All right, rocking. Now we can see some other cameras in the scene. So these are just showing for some reason, so I'm just going to hide them. Don't need the cameras being seen. Just have a look at it front and side. Okay, and that looks pretty good. These cameras do live sort of around the place. You can see that's where the front camera is, and the side camera is around there. So if you've got a really big character, sometimes you can get mixed up. So you just want it to pull those out and make sure they're there. And then we can select them, Control H, just hide. That's not important. All right. So this is a good character. This is a good easy one. And sometimes the easy ones can be deceiving. So can't tell you exactly how this is going. So I'm going to kind of have a look at it here from the front. Have a look at here from the side. The side gives us some clues about what the shape of this head is. But it looks like the body is very, very simple. Either a straight cylinder or a slightly square cylinder. Very hard to tell from this drawing. So I'm going to go with a slightly square cylinder from the top. So what we want to do is just start roughing this in really basically. And this is a good one to follow at home. So if this does make the tutorial, I will provide all this stuff as a reference. Now, let's talk about divisions. 12. 12 is a good starting point for this character. Around about there, you could go lower, but it's good to sort of start with anything that will divide well into quarters. So you can see that that's going to be cool on the side, and there's the quarters there. All right, so we can decap this by deleting those. Draw a line through that. Delete. Okay. Front view. That'll be alright. Now it will smooth. Okay. If you have those caps on, that won't smooth very nicely. So we're sub-D modeling here. We really are. And that's the way it goes. Now, if you want to have a little bit of a squarish shape rather than a cylinder, do it now. So the order of operations is very important. With 3D, if you do it first, then it's easier later. And so you can see that's now a little bit of a squarish kind of a shape for this guy, but it's not looking like a box. So let's just keep going now to cap that on the top and the bottom. Let's do it now. We can actually just extrude these guys. Now you can use a lot of this like offset stuff. We'll probably do okay. Just got to find the way thickness, inverting the thickness, taking the smooth off so I can see that. Not such a bad way of going. The other thing that we could do is you just go hit R for a scale, and now you can scale it that way. It would be quite fine. So I've done a bit of both. Let's extrude that again. I'm just going to do the regular scale. Extrude again. And now we can weld them. Now if you weld them, so merge, Control W on my keys. In fact, that's not looking real flash. So let's do it the other way, which is just select that and then double click. Delete that. Okay, now we can do bridging. So bridge. Could have done it a bit faster. There's the center line, and 1, 2, 1, 2 will bridge. 1, 2, 1, 2. Bridge, yeah. And you could mirror it the other way to get that exact. Or whatever, we'll just do it again. So let's do that one more time as a repeat. 1, 2, 3 almost. You can almost do it. Let's do it a different way this time, just to show you there's different ways to skin a cat. Bridge that there, and now Control Shift W is target weld. We've got to be invert mode. There's the target weld. I found target welds a bit weird in 2017, but that worked alright. That worked fine. And now we can just Control Q, put edge loop split in there. Now the size of that will really dictate on how smooth it is, and I can see it's a fairly smooth character. Put a little one there. We can fix all this stuff later. Now that was smooth, and it will smooth quite beautifully, you can see. And we can fix this up a bit later, but see he's got a slight bow, so we might as well just do this now, like delete history, freeze transforms, so everything's clean. Might as well just do this now, hey? So get out of the, everyone stays in the smooth mode for way too long. I can see that's not the same as the top, so I'm just making those the same. Let's go in the center somewhere. Double click. So I'm always doing these things like double click. Let's just scale that up. And that's going to scale it from the front and the side because I'm scaling it from the middle. Okay, and that's ish, kind of ish good. Bring that in a bit because it's got a bow. And watch it smooth. So that's getting there. That could be a bit wider, but we're gonna put some more divisions in. 1, 2 there. See how I'm sort of just knowing that I can edge loop split at any stage. And people call this box modeling, but I really don't like box modeling. I hate that word. Starting from a box. I didn't start from a box, I started from cylinder. Model the shapes and then join them up. It's way better and easier. People just don't know how to join objects. So they go on about box modeling, how incredible it is. It's not. You can box model, but it's just a rubbish way of working. So a bit of honesty there. Let's go here to this face, hey? So that's what I want to do next because I want to rough out that face. So we want to get the profile kind of working, sort of. But I'm not really totally sure how I'm going to do this. I'm like, well, it's kind of an odd shape for a primitive. But if we just go from anything in the top view that kind of matches, we're going to be okay. So I could even start with a cylinder. Like there's so many ways you could build this object, and what you got to do is get your hands dirty more than anything. Just get your hands dirty, and people spend way too long trying to figure out the perfect way. There is no perfect way of modeling. You just got to kind of get it right. So I'm going to grab, wrong hotkey there, the mic in front of my face. I can't see my keyboard very well. Let's go top view. That's the one we're going to extrude out. That's the shape that we're after. But as you can see in the side view, it's a bit warped. It's not a perfect round circle from the top. So we're just going to make that, or I'm just going to make it kind of like this. Now the front is wider than the back, so it's going to be a little bit of that shape. It just takes a bit to sort of figure this out. Make that a bit smaller. You can see that's all gone out of whack, right? But now we can just move these out and about. So that's our line that we're going to have. And then front and side ref just makes the world easier. I like designing my own characters and I do it in 3D, but it just makes it so much harder. So much better for you guys to do simple characters first. Feel like you get a reward out of this. So I'm going back to the top view just to see how that works. I think that's got to be back a little bit more now. Just going to check that. And now I'm just moving it down. Okay, that's looking not too bad. And just, I want to keep those even, so I'm just moving it forward a little bit. Keeping that shape. And then I call this triangulation, where you go front, top, side, get all the points good, and then you can see how it is. Now that's a bent shape, so we know We know that that's going to be extruded in later, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So there's an order of operation is really important with modeling. Let's extrude that down. Okay, now it's inverted, but that's fine. Okay, so we've got that. It's all black, and I like leaving this on just for a while at least. Where is it? Lighting, two-sided lighting. We can turn that off, but it just tells us that the normals are inverted. So let's select this, and why can't I select the polygons? For some reason that's off. That's probably from another day. Shouldn't be like that for you guys. You can actually take poly surfaces off there. That means you can't select them. For me, I was probably doing something else. And now we can just reverse those polys. Now I don't have a hotkey for this. I don't use it that much. Mesh display, reverse. Maybe I should have a hotkey for marquee menu for that menu, but not yet. Not yet, my friend. Not yet. And we'll come down. And this time we're just going to go this way, okay? I'm going to make that quite flat. I'm going to figure out this later and put it there. Okay, so you can see that that shape is going to sort of continue down. Now from the front, that's just a box, right? So obviously we're too thin. Let's come out wide. And now I'm going to put in a few lines. Now, instead of doing it just with an edge loop split like that, I'm going to just cut through. So I want straight lines here. I'm going to flatten them out to be flat. It just makes it a bit easier to work with. Not a massive thing. And now that cross section I'm kind of trusting. So I'm doing just a one uniform scale on that. We'll go to the front. Do it properly. And you'll see how the order of operation means that you shouldn't have to do too much tweaking after this if it all goes well. And maybe let's just put in another one on the bottom there. Gonna need a lot there because it's turning a corner. And there's so many ways you could do edge loops and stuff. A lot of people are very much into when you start talking about topology, you're like that's the right topology. Like there's a right and wrong. There's not really a right and wrong topology. There's good, clean topology, but you can model good, clean topology in any number of ways. Does it look right? That's look good. Is the end result good? Can the audience not tell we are magicians? Okay, so we're here, and I've got that shape now. I haven't even noticed how I haven't even really seen it yet in the 3/4 view. This is because I kind of know in my head what that shape's looking like, and this is what happens when you do a lot of modeling. But when you're starting, don't worry too much. Don't stress. I'm just trying to neaten this up in the side view. Don't stress that everything's not perfect. Be prepared to make a lot of mistakes, rebuild objects, start again. That's alright, it's nice, it's what I do too, still. Okay, so there we go. There's a shape, it's not looking so bad, is it? Okay, and if we smooth that, you can see what's happening. We've got to fix up the bottom, we've got to fix up the top. So let's do the top first. What I'll do is just delete it and extrude it again. There's probably easier ways. I'm just extruding now. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to do a scale from the center. No, actually, so something's happened here. I've done extrude and then I've left it. Now a lot of people just unselect, but now I've actually got two vertices there. Okay, can you see them? That's a really bad beginner mistake, is to put two, like an invisible polygon there, and that comes up with lots of issues later. So to get around this, I know that I've just done poly extrude, and rather than just undoing and doing it again, I can click on that and hit T. And that will bring up the manipulator again. So there it is. And I'm going to go back to thickness because I think that was working better. It was. So there we go. And now we can do our bridge tricks again. So those three. Bridge. Cut in the middle. And then we need to be in vert mode. Now we can do the weld. Okay, so that one I should have done as well. Let's just do that. Easier now to do those two. Bridge that together, so that's looking okay. Now the side view, you can see now very clearly what's happening, but we want that just to be flat. And of course I've lost my manipulator. So there's no manipulator popping up. There it is for rotate though, weirdly. But there's no move manipulator, so that's a bug. You can try and reset the tool. Doing that a fair bit lately with Maya. But we've still got no manipulator. Coming to there's still no manipulator anyway, so let's do a restart. Restart time, buggy Maya. let's save it. Good time to save, actually. Save scene as. Let's not edit this for you guys. We're in scenes. So this is the model. So let's just make it model. We'll get it in early. Call it robot 01. Now my convention is version 01. 01, that allows you to have thousands of versions. I'll commonly go over 100, so that's just good to do that. Robot 101, that's the first one. Let's do a restart, so Maya quit. Start again. Good old Maya. So you got to kind of know when things are buggy, which comes with experience in Maya. It's not a big deal. Modeling is usually pretty rock solid, so it's just teething issues. That's why I don't support Maya version 1 early, the new version of Maya early. This is only update 1. I'll probably be telling people to go to Maya update 2, where they'll fix a lot of these little issues. It's just regular Maya stuff. Everyone gets so frustrated with Maya. It's a very complex program with a very small market, so you got to give them a little bit of a break sometimes, the Maya guys. It is the best 3D software for doing animation, rigging characters. There's nothing else, as far as I'm concerned. So it is what it is. So here we've got this line here now, which is this cool. We're getting kind of the feel that that's right. Okay. But the artist has clearly not drawn this line going that way. He's drawn it going this way. So let's see. Sometimes you got to go with what the artist has done. Sometimes not. Sometimes you got to break away from their designs because they are thinking in 2D. They can't see it in 3D like we can. And that's the way he wants that to go, or she. But I think it is a male designer. I'm not sure. I'll ask him. Last guy. There we go. So that's just got that nice thing. Now when you smooth it, that should smooth like that. Okay, now what we want to have to get that line nice and cool is you want to have another line very close together like that. And that will give us our edge down the side. But let's mess this up a bit. So we just want to, as it sort of comes over here, to relax it a little bit. There's lots of ways you could relax. But I'm going to the side view, move it on those axes. This is a curve, so it gets tricky. And what you can do later is you could actually build a plane and then snap it to it. Maybe we'll do that, maybe we won't. Depends on how good it looks. But these are tough shapes, all this hard surface modeling stuff, and the way around it, a lot of it is just to build the shape like that plane on a nice curve and then snap to it with a quad draw later. And that way you're guaranteed to hit that planes. But I've been doing this long enough that I can kind of do it without doing that. So see, this is where we get into vert by vert manipulation. That's all right. Now this has got a mirror plane, so we really only have to do one side. To click on that, absolute transform, mirror that down the middle. That's just zeroed that line, so now I can do a mirror. And that should be symmetrical now. Is that working? I've got a new mirror in 2017. Yes, that is working. So let's try that now. Just wanting it to pop up in the history to make sure it's happened. Okay. And then just smooth it to make sure that seam has done it. So mirroring is still a little bit annoying for us still, but it's much better than it used to be. And that's becoming a nice shape. You can see that is not too bad, is it? Okay, put that one on smooth. And it really depends what you want that cross section to be. I'm not really digging it as being that square. But that's not too bad, yeah? There we go, hard surface. So we've got to finish off the bottom. And we're going to cut these lines in later, but I'm going to leave that for now, I think. I think that's pretty good, but if we were to finish that, you would want this topology to flow through. So we can just do one side. And that's going to come through there. Now I can join that to that bridge. And I want that to flow through as well. Okay, and that is actually just a quad, so that one and just fill that again. Now from the front view, we got to round it out a bit. That could come down a touch. That's going to go up. This is where you just got to get stuff right. See from that side view, it's doing a little wiggle. Let's see. Yep, that's got to come back down there. And that's going to come up a bit. This is all going to suck in because it's a quad, it's a sub-D mesh. Now, I even encourage games people to do a lot of these sub-D meshes because they enable you to, even if you are doing games that might be too low poly, and then you can just do a poly smooth, clean up some of the polys, a few too many for games in the top. But that's starting to look really good for a high-res games model. So it's really handy to know how to do proper sub-D modeling, even if you are doing games. You'll see that I know a lot of the good games modelers can sub-D model as well. Alright, just cleaning that up because I want that edge to be sort of the same thickness. Just kind of noodling a little bit. There we go. So this looks like a really simple model, but you know, when you get into these things, you gotta start realizing, oh, it's deceptive. So now I could start moving that a little bit this way. Now we're working on always the screen X space. So when you're in the back, I get a bit confused. It's very easy. You can start to see that, but I'm just sort of seeing that. Now these are your problems where you're gonna get artifacts. Everyone's like triangles, don't never have them, but I'm breaking the grid topology there. So that is a switch point on the mesh. That is going to be an issue. I also can see that that's a switch point, and that's a bad one because it's right on this edge. Okay, so might do something about that later, but for now, that's okay, I think. I'm gonna grab that line. There we go. And that's not too bad. So you can see I'm just going slow. In my time lapses, it looks like I'm cruising. But that's because it's been played at like 20 times in crazy speeds. Okay. I'm not doing this in an amazing way. So that's just doing the right steps in the right time. And that's looking pretty good for our base. Okay, so let's make the eyes. Pop them out for now. Okay, so we want cylinders again. Let's go that over 90 degrees. And probably 12 is enough for those eyes because we're going to smooth these as well. There's our shape. Side view. And you can see that they've designed this with these eyes to be pointing out just a touch. Like that. Okay. And we're going to have to hit the surface. So this is where we're going to break away from the 2D ref because the 2D designers just can't see it as clearly as what we can now. You've got to take these liberties. That side view is probably not going to match exactly, see? It's a cheat, technically, and I've met no one that can get that stuff exactly right. So let's now cap the back of it, because we're just going to intersect it in. I'm just going to extrude this. Now this is kind of a placeholder, because we should probably do this properly later. But I just want to get a feel for this object. Okay, now even that's good enough, because you can see that will smooth. Okay. And then let's just put another edge loop there, right? And that'll keep it solid and hard. Now, if I want to make that a bit better, I can just, these round shapes are great. So that's a big star in the middle, who cares? Done. Just for now. Delete. Okay, I'm not going to freeze transforms on this one because I want to keep that local coordinates the right way. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use my instance mirror, which is that one, which is now instance.geo. And that means that if I move one, then both of them move like that. Nice and quick. So we're going to do these lines later. That's kind of a good thing. Let's switch on to anti-aliasing and ambient occlusion. That ambient occlusion is not really working very well. There it goes. You can sort of see it needs a little bit more to work with, but the ambient occlusion can help us a little touch. Yeah, it's working a tiny bit. There, okay. So that's okay. And these other parts are going to be quite easy. So let's move on and save. Version 2. Okay. So Nice and easy now. Let's do that next one. So that guy there, if it's following the same shape, might not be perfectly round. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's see these side ones. Yeah, that's perfectly round. Maybe that is perfectly round. So let's do a perfectly round one for that, and perfectly round one for that. Nice and easy cylinders. Okay, this is where if just I know Guy and I know his company, and he's always thinking about, you know, budgets, because budget time is money. So when he's designing his characters and his character designers are designing the characters, they're designing them so that they will work in 3D well, and that's why I've agreed to do this job for him. No, I'm not getting paid. It's just a nice volunteer job for something fun that I can demo for you guys. So there we go. Put that in. Do it again. And now, instead of doing a bridge thing like I've been doing before, if I do want to get that star thing not working, now we can just do this kind of stuff. Will be good enough. Yeah, for that top view. Now, maybe it looks different from the top. Maybe, you know, they want, difficult to sort of know. Maybe we want to see that little bit of a bevel on the bottom. Let's do that just to show you what I mean. So everyone thinks that everything has to be connected. It does not have to be connected. Model it separate parts, like in the real world. Is it going to be? No. Let's just go into isolate mode there. In the real world, would they be modeled with separate parts? Like, would this be a machine part that's separate from the main body? And their answer is yes, of course it is. So in 3D, we can also cheat it. And you can even cheat things in 3D loads more than what most students are aware of. It's probably up there with one of my most shocked questions from beginners is like, oh, I thought it had to all be joined. It doesn't. Nope. So what did I do there? Something. Very easy to hit random hotkeys and not know what it does. Mic in the way, so looking okay. By smoothing that, we've got a nice smooth disc. It's a sub D. That just means that no matter how close we get to this, it'll smooth correctly if you just put the divisions high enough. So back. Now you can see our ambient occlusion's kicking in. There's before and after, so I'll always leave that on. You can see how that's fitting nicely. And you can mess it up later. Maybe this character should be a little bit messy, just finding the midpoint. And we've got a little tiny line there now to do that one. Let's just do 6 divisions. So on the polycylinder, 6. Make it really small. And we can come to that top view because you can use that guy. Scale on 2 axes. And base mode, grab through, middle, delete. Sorry. Yep. Delete. Why is that deleting that face? Okay, that's obviously a bug. It should not be doing that. Let's try it again. Base mode, select everything, so that's right, and then delete the middle, that's better. So that's decapped it. And now in the side view, we can see more of that. Get there. And we can see that's going to be wider, so I'm just going to scale it from the middle. Get it a bit wider because it's going to suck in when we smooth it. And that goes here. Front view. And that's pretty good. So we smooth that. Now we're going to put probably a lot of divisions in there for rigging later because that's going to have to bend. But that's pretty good. Now this is just another circle here. Now we could just reuse that guy. And I'm going to because I'm being going to be lazy. Quick model, but you could do it with less divisions. Now on this one I'm probably not going to keep the top. Just delete that. Just have it intersect in, we'll probably be fine. If we're doing it for feature film, we do it all properly. Up again. Okay, so that's pretty good, yeah. Now that can just go straight up into the head. It's just going to intersect really badly. It's looking okay, but we'll just put a couple more divisions in just so that works. But we do now need to bring that to match that center line, and I'll just get this going here, so we can just select all of those and give that the sort of bend it needs. Now, ain't gonna be perfect because of the way that we've done that middle area, but I'm just trying to get the edges right on the outside. And then really we can just come in here and do these one by one and make sure that they match-ish. Should be okay. That guy. This is a good example of a character which should be quite appealing, but isn't super difficult to model, but have all these curveballs like here, and people just don't know how to handle them. We'll get a little bit confused. And all these guys, you may not be seeing this 3D object like I am in my head, but all these little guys, they're just the verts that are being extruded in. See, all those guys. That's what I'm moving around there. And we may have to just think that there. Now we can hit Alt-M and that will just symmetrize that. Perhaps that one can come down a little bit. Feels a little bit high, that does. Not really working in 3D, but I can smooth that and just make sure it's all working. You can see that's not too bad. A bit of a change going on there. Yeah, like kind of around about here. Just want to nudge that up. Right. And now we've got sort of a curved shape. That's a little bit, because we've used this one, which had a nice big bevel on it. This one now feels like it's a little bit tight. I'm going to move that up just directly. Give that bevel a little bit more space. I'm going to bring it in a bit. Now that's going to have to come back down again, and we're just going to have to check it because it's all going to go out a tiny bit. Now, we're magicians again. We do not have to get this picture perfect. Bigger bevel, and now you can see what's going on. I'm not really loving the shape of that from the back. I think that's just not quite ideal. Too much. Too much. Let's bring those back down a touch. Better. All right, so guys taking shape. If we want to make that thicker, we can always try it out, making it thicker or whatever, but not really thin neck, this guy. Okay. Probably never make it that thin, but this is what I like about 2D artists, is they don't think like 3D guys. They really stylize stuff. And for me, I think that's looking pretty good, actually. Not what I would do, but it's pretty cool. Now, for some reason, this is just a bit bigger from the side. But I know that the artist would want to keep that perfectly round, so I'm just moving it forward a little bit. You can always just do that, but now we're getting an oval shape there. I don't know, like, you could just do it like that. It's pretty freeform. That's pretty good. Let's even make this one a little bit more beveled. Like that. Just give it a bit more of that top edge, a bit more lip. That will just show the whites a little bit more and keep it a bit cleaner. So this is sort of clean topology modeling. All right, so now we can reuse some parts. That one for sure can be duplicated now, and hold down J to get that to 90 degrees. Just check it there. Here. And put that here. That should be rightish. And we're just going to follow that so it sort of sits in nicely. Not going to be perfect because that is rounded and this is flat. So we might fix that up later, but that'll do for now. And then with that guy there, just we can what is it, Alt? I always forget my hotkey for mirror. I don't model that much anymore. There we go, that's pretty good. How am I going to use this guy for the arms? It's right size already. Move it in, duplicating that, make it longer. And now we can cut this guy up now, take the smooth off so we can see what we're really happening. This is what happens is when you're doing sub-D modeling is everyone smooths it and doesn't realize where the verts actually are. So just doing that here because I want that to sort of do a little bit of a U-turn right at the bottom. So we've got mirror on, just take that off, Alt M. Symmetrical mode. I want this to do a little U-turn to come into there. In 2D that's fine, but I think in 3D, bring it out a touch. Smooth, and you see that's taking a little U-turn. And now to do this guy, we can just duplicate that again. Right, and we can just delete that now, delete those, get a bit simpler. Rotate it so that's zeroed. Put the here and there. Now what we can do is, I'm going to be lazy and just take that one out completely. Grab that now, and we just move it to there. And scale that down a touch, because it does have some sort of a cone shape to it. You can see in the side view now, this is where we can move the pivot point of this object, rotate it. Bring it forwards and down. And it's got a slight bend in it. Something like that. Just these little subtle details that can make a simple model like this feel a little bit more organic and cool. That side view, that guy's wrong. Yep. So we can just, again, Control F. Let's just move that all the way up here and then rotate it. It's a bit better. Then we've got this shape here. Now, how has he drawn that? It looks like another cylinder. Just a cylinder, like a really simple cylinder. So let's use this one from a new one. 6. I'm going to save this again. I don't increment save because I like to just give little descriptions, and I should have a automatic window for this, but I'll just say building, just so I know where I am if I ever need to go back. Put that here. Okay. There we go, something like that. And we want this one to be quite low, like 8. Okay. Now, again, extrude, not Control R, Control E. Click on that, and that will give us this guy. And now we can just do it from the middle of the extrude manipulator. Again. That's pretty good. And we can now just quad that off. This is all just so it will smooth in sub-Ds. Yep. Control Q again. Tap that. Okay, so from the side that's not correct, but this is how it works. We'll just do something like that. Looks like the artist has given this a little bit of an off-center sort of a feel, like a cone shape. So let's do just a little bit of a cone shape like that. Maybe this can be bigger. Switch down this. Okay, a lot of history. delete history, but I'm not going to freeze the transforms on this because I do like just to keep that manipulator pointing that way, just for now, just while we're here. And that could even be a little bit more. This is where it's very rough. We're not going to be too structured to what the artist is giving us. I even don't like that in the 3D going quite so much. And that can come out a touch too. There we go. And it's feeling a bit too clean to me. So this is where this will help, because we can just use that as the right shape and then just maybe one at a time. And that out of touch. I want to see a little bit more of a bevel there. Yeah, now there's probably some nice stuff going on the inside, so we can detail that up later, including there as well. I find with these models, the artists tend to draw them very simply, but what you can do is you can go and put a lot of nice little subtle details in it, and that can really make it shine. So that's all right, isn't it? So let's do the legs now. I'm just going to skip straight to the legs because we've already got these parts. So I'm just going to there. And this has got that cone shape on it, so let's just delete that altogether. Maybe that one too. And we'll take these out. Okay, Alt-T for deleting that stuff. And I'm gonna be a bit relaxed here. Maybe there's a leg, so I'll make it a bit bigger. Even a bit bigger again. Because when we smooth it, it sucks in a little bit. Okay, so I'm not really sure what the artist shape they have in their head there. But let's just do the next leg, because we're here. Now if we do that with object mode on, we should be kind of okay. Doesn't always guarantee stuff will be great. So rotate that. Yeah, something like that. That'll be good enough. Our little dude is taking shape. Okay, so I'm going to reuse that guy now. Show you how to do this. So we haven't frozen the transforms because I know that I didn't want to do that. I'm going to bring it down to that knee. And this, you might be saying, hey, that's a totally different shape. Well, it's not really. What we can do, and this is organic, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's take out that one. And I'll even double click that and take it out. And take it out. So I know that's a circle. Now I can just bring it down and scale it up to the right size, or bring this one up to the right size there. Right? Roughly the same. Come to the front. And that's looking kind of okay. So now that has to be, like I can tell he's sort of like drawn this in. I really like the way that the artist lines aren't perfect, because this is a cartoony character. So I'm not just trying to keep it all rigid and just like a cylinder. I'm trying to give it that little bit of a shape that they were suggesting. And you can even move stuff around a little bit. I can sort of feel that it's gone in a little bit that way. Like it's just got a bit of an organic shape to it. Now you can see that's totally different from the side view. That looks cool, but from the front, it's not. So we can just split the difference. Don't have to be too worried about that stuff. And if I smooth that, that feels kind of nice. Kind of organic-y and, but still robotic. Okay, and then we're going to do these little feet. Now, I'm not really sure what he had in mind with these feet either. So certainly I would start from something pretty simple, like a box. Cube. We are box modeling, oh my god. Yeah, maybe that would go there. And now from the front view, of course, it looks wrong. But if we take the front, just the front, that's going to be somewhere out there. Maybe that's going to be down a fair bit more. Those guys are certainly going to be very skinny. and there-ish. And that's going to be on the, so all these are going to be on the ground floor, so we can just go 0 absolute. Side view, let's see how that's going. Yeah, so it's sort of split the difference on that. Okay, so there's definitely a different shape here. And this is where that's about as much as we know from what the artist has given us. We've got no idea how much the back is, but I'll just go something like that. And let's put another guy in there. Now here, let's sort of move that forwards and just kind of do that. All right, so I want hard lines on this now. Am I going to be lazy and I'm just going to... This is really not a great thing to do, just to put hard lines in like that. But it's not too bad, see? That's going to be okay. Now we want another one there. And that's going to go off in a bit of a weird angle. So I'm just going to put it in the middle like that. And let's pull that up. That's like that. And we want another one for the bottom, but the bottom one's much better. See that? And that's now thin, but that's fat. So I know I want to bring that up a bit just to keep that even. See, I'm sort of seeing how this will... You need these lines close together so that when you smooth it, everything looks cool. Like that. But sometimes you can get it a bit wrong, so... Like that now needs to have a sharp line. Okay, so that's going to be something like... See how skinny everything is here? Whereas at the front here, it's quite wide. Like that line there is quite wide, but this one's quite skinny. So you want to move it in like this. Now there's loads of ways we can do some of this stuff. One of them is, I don't do this very much. I don't do a lot of hard surface. If I did, I'd be much more familiar with it. You can go into the move modes and you can do constraints. Like transform constraints, edge slide. So this is now going to try and keep it to the same mesh. Like now we can't bring it out. It's going to sort of snap to that surface. You can see that now I'm guaranteed to keep that mesh sliding along the right part. We're going to remember that we're going to take it off because it will mess stuff up too. But we definitely want to have a sharp line there. Yep. Right. So we're getting that going. It's not looking too bad from this angle. That's probably out too much now. Slide that back in a bit. And again, this is a cartoon character, so we don't have to be super perfect precision. That would definitely be a line kind of like that, keeping that bottom one done. What I don't like about doing this technique is that isn't a quad topology, that's 3 lines coming together, which is always a bit dodgy. You want sort of the lines to turn corners and do stuff like that. But close enough is good enough. In this case, we're going to be cool, I think. So holding down the W key, we'll go back to that transform constraints, just switch that off because I want to get that up there. And now we can see we got a bit of a bow on that. It's fine. Really, we want to have 2 lines really close together here. So what you can do is put the line there and then take that one and bring it in there. And that should be better. And obviously we've got to fix that after we've done it. So it depends which way we want to go. That one out maybe. That one in a bit. And like that, inside view. It's now not working. So we don't really fully know, or I don't fully know what the artist was intending. Maybe bring that down and we'll do another one. Where's that going to go? Yeah, okay. I don't want to get that there. Now it's really close together up here. So I'm really trying to imagine what's going to look like when we smooth it, see? Seeing what these lines will do after the smooth. Just to bring that out a bit. Bring that one in a bit. That one out a touch. Not looking too bad. Anyway, that's probably good enough for starters, yeah. And what you want to do, think about, is like, that's coming in a bit too much. I can see that those are too far in. That's got to have more of a rounded shape. This is just feeling like like everything's so soft in the rest of the design that this really sharp foot is now looking a little bit out of place to me. So I'm going to try and round it off just a little bit because there's only so much we can tell from that art. Something like that. Just give it some nice rounder forms to match the rest of the model. So this is where a little bit of design, we've got a little bit of leeway because the 3D modeler has to think for themselves a lot of the time. This is where everyone's like, you're copying the reference. It's like, you're not being artistic. Well, we are, because we have to solve a lot of problems in 3D land. So that's getting a bit better, and I just want to like encourage this model to be a little bit more rounder, see? And we might even just put another one in there for the hell of it. That'll just give us a little bit more to play with. And it's going to have a lot of edge loops later when this model deforms, so we're going to have to put a lot more in. Side view, there's a problem with the back of the foot. That's got to sort of come in that way a little bit. You can see how much, like I really am just moving a lot of verts one by one. Everyone thinks it just all pops out looking awesome. I ain't like that. All right. And now I'm looking at these lines. Okay, so I see that line there, and I'm just trying to neaten stuff up so that the lines are sort of flowing. And I'm going a bit freeform now. Move that on the floor plane just so that that looks a bit neater to me. So you can see it's quite fiddly. See that one's coming in too much. I want that to come out. See that? It's a nicer form, and I'm checking it from all different angles. I call this triangulation. Just making sure that those lines are looking correct through the mesh. That one's coming back. So that's not good. Just want it to be a bit neater and nicer. See, that's looking better. But then you want to check it from the top because you might have put that out. So you've got to really always be looking underneath your model, on top of your model. Different ones. I can see now that there, those lines. And I can only see this one underneath your model. It can come in a bit. And I reckon those there can come out too. Look at that. What do we reckon? So who thought this was just a simple box, hey? Now that one, see, I'm seeing down here, I want that to come out so it follows that line. And that, you know, just follows that one. I've done tons of this sort of stuff, and we're doing less and less of it as time goes on because of sculpting, but you get these beautiful clean shapes. Really difficult. I do a lot of sculpting, and everyone's like, hard surface is all in ZBrush these days. Don't think so. Yeah, and that's looking a bit, I want that top line to come in just a touch, and it's difficult because we've got a lot of verts there now. But you just sort of come in here, it's going to grab all that top section. And that to come in a touch, see? And now we want to deselect those guys. Bring them in like that. And now that's pushing it a bit too much there. Don't mind that. Pushing a bit too much there too. So just bring that out a touch to get that looking nice. See? And maybe on those ones, don't know what it looks like from that side, but let's just lift them a little bit. See, so it comes down. That one too. It's like he's drawn it like a toe. So maybe it'd come from the side and you could even just slice it. Yeah, it's gonna not be so good because, but that, just get this and scale it tiny bit, or just deselect those, scale it down a little bit to form that toe. That subtleness of a toe. See, that's feeling just that little bit better. Okay, a little bit more we can clean up there for sure. That's too much. Bring that in a bit. Leave that one and leave that one. That one too. Leave those two. Oh, something there. Come in. All right, great. It's looking better now in that section. So this is really boring stuff, but if you take the time, it can look quite cool. Now we've got the extra vert, so we can just sort of help that out a bit, to round it out a bit, to get rid of that real squareness that's going to be happening. I want to keep that line coming out, so I'm following the lines. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a, I can see there's going to be a bit of artifacting there when this goes. See that little line? Might be hard, but I can see there's a little bit of a problem there. So this is probably, I'll need to tweak that later with more detail. Put more edge loops in later. Definitely we need more edge loops anyway for animation. But for now, I'm just going to ignore that sort of area. This is just a bit of a trouble area because it's wanting to be really nice and smooth, or I want it to be really nice and smooth. But it's sort of this place where I want lines close together there, but not here. And there's other, like you could do a loop there and that would get around this issue, but hey, that's what it is. We're doing it lo-fi. Sweet, okay, so that's looking okay. I really like the more triangular version of this robot. Like there's a really lovely triangle shape. So now I'm looking back at this, I'm like, I'm missing that really lovely triangle shape that the artist has done. I've lost it. Let's grab this and just move it in like that. Get that real triangularness happening. And I know the artist has got this like straight lines, but it's just not working for me because everything is, see how quickly he's drawn that. I like this where he's gone on a curve with this brush strokes. Some nice curves in there. There we go. That's looking alright, but now we've lost, it's coming out too much here. And because it's really low, we can kind of do this. Come in a bit. You can sort of see now that's out. So whenever you make changes, you got to just fiddle with this stuff. But if you get all these points in the right place, when you hit that smooth button, everything does go really nice. And then we can just add more detail later and fix up a few of those little things. Yeah. Maybe not so much. All right. There we go. Now that's not really working very well on that intersection, so I might just need to do that touch more. Touch, touch, touch. So it fits. Be a little bit more accommodating there. Okay, that'll do for now. And we've got our little guy. Now we haven't got our hands yet, so let's do them next. But before I do that, let's just group that. And I'm gonna, wrong hotkey, instance mirror. Okay, so we can see that other one. And we want to do the same for the arm. Let's do it before we do the hand, it's fine. Those guys are already done, so. Good old instance mirror. Got a bit of geo, so let's just grab everything and delete history. I'm not freezing transforms yet. Save that again. So then here I'm going on to hands, because the hands are next. Okay, so we're just going to do these hands, then I'm going to have a little break, and then we'll do the detailing. So, what are these hands doing? They're kind of cylinder squarish shapes again, so they're a little bit like this. I really like the roundness of them. They feel fun, they feel friendly hands. So, let's do a cylinder. And it'll kind of be, I think that it's a robot, they're all like, that's a separate piece to that's a separate piece to those three. Do I need, just trying to decide how many divisions to have around this. I'm going to try 8. Like that. And I'm going off and doing a non-uniform scale now, because it's not uniform. And we're just starting with that right shape now. I'm going to bring the pivot up to here. And that way we can just orient it a bit better, like knowing that that's the point of the wrist. It's a little bit too long, so let's just leave it like that. Okay, so now we want to do definitely there, and don't do a scale that in a bit. I'm scaling from the center, that way from the front it's also going to be kind of nice. Sorry, from the side it's also going to be nice. You see that's going in there, but that's a bit too much. It's got, you want that conical shape sort of coming in off, bit off center. Yep. And okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to extrude it in one more time, I think. Just pull it out, and then that can be right. Delete the history there. And the bottom is kind of the same, isn't it? So I can sort of see in the art, even, let's do it one more time. We want a bit of a hard line here-ish. Yeah, and then that can be the, because those guys from this front view, sort of see that it comes down and forms a nice little sort of rounded shape from the front there. And that could happen a little bit here. See how I'm sort of like, when I'm quite familiar with navigating around the objects, you can sort of see where the points kind of line up, and this is really helpful because I can see now, you know, we're not being perfect and precise, but I can see that those, especially that maybe, could come down a bit that way. Now when that smooths, we get these sort of nice shapes, nicest shapes, yeah. Really low poly, and if you get the really low poly style of very light meshes happening, you'll start to really get some nice shapes very simply. So just want that to be a bit of more of that, the side view, more of that shape that he's got in his art. I love doing stuff from good concept art because it challenges some of the perceptions that you might have in your own style. And you start going, oh, that's interesting how they put a line there. I never would have thought a line there would be cool, but it is. Alright, so that's the main part of the hand done. So let's now do these little fingers. Getting a little tired doing all its talking. So, fingers, hey, these guys. Let's do 6 division cylinders. Really low. 6. How low can you go? Pretty low. And they're all kind of the same, especially the fingers and the thumb too, even. So now we can get that roughly in place. And from the side view, you can sort of see that as well. That's kind of roughly right. Now, let's just take the caps off, especially off that one. And I think on that one, we're going to extrude it in. Like that. And it's the cone shape, right? So that's kind of it. And then that one there is kind of way fatter, especially on that one. Put in the middle, and that one's going to be a bit fatter too. So it's like a cone shape, see? So I know that that's perfectly round, and that's where the artist has got it, roughly. In the side view, it's a little bit longer, but in the front view, it's really short and fat. He's made it look interesting with these different shapes. So we're going to have to kind of think about this a little bit. Like, how would this sort of go together? And I think for the show, it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to fake it. Pocoyo is one of my fave lo-fi TV shows. And I've looked at the rigs on that. You can find them online, and they just intersect a whole bunch of stuff together. Nobody notices. Okay, so now we got this. Maybe get that into the 2 quads and pull it out a touch. Like that. We're going to get a bit of weirdness. Not too bad. Yeah, that's looking kind of robotic though. Alright, so that looks like the big finger. Let's just be really rough here. Before I do that, move that pivot point up. Okay, so we're going to do these other fingers. There they are. Duplicate. Now from the front view, do it here. Just a bit smaller, maybe a bit longer. Then randomize it a little bit. Duplicate that again. Same thing, a bit smaller. Okay, and from the side view, it's going to be a little bit rounded. That's sticking out too much. Get that sort of a thing happening. That'll do for now, I think. That's really what that's looking like to me. That's looking really simple. It's pretty cool. And then we'll do this thumb too. So I'm going to take the big one. I haven't frozen the transforms, but I have deleted the history on this. And we'll just go, because the thumb's going to be chunky. Thumbs are always chunky. Hit that sort of shape there. Okay, now it's not looking so triangulated. Side view, I don't think we can really see anything, so that's cool. We can do whatever we want. Something maybe that get the thumb back a bit. Looks a bit cooler. And we definitely want that line there. Something like that. And I'm even going to just mess this up a bit just to get a bit of a thumb shape. This is my own little thing I'm adding there. And we've got something looking okay. So in this view, just to get that thumb pad happening, maybe, again, we can't see this from the side view, so I've got no idea. I'm just going to move that back a bit, so you're getting a bit more of that thumb in here. To exaggerate that would be like that. And now you can see it's just got a nice shape to it. Those two, I do want to just bring that up a bit to continue that into the like there's a sphere underneath that a little bit. It's not perfect, but and we've got a very sharp line there that's going to be annoying to us. So just try and smooth that out, maybe by bringing that one this way. Comes in, something like that. And then the end as well. Oh, phone. And And then this guy here, we're having a little bit of trouble with it because it's just looking a bit flat on that end. So I just want to make it smaller, like more like a round shape. And if we want to really help it out, we can put more divisions in later, but hopefully that looks okay. Something like that. Yeah. Even put another one in just to round that out. Yeah, I'm really wanting that ball on the end. We've got very few polys to play with, so that'll just help it out a bit. Yeah, now that I've seen it, let's take that out. I like the triangularness of this. Make it all sort of sit together, and then I really want that to be fat. Lovely fat. Cute little hand, so you know, you'd never really think to make hands like this. Alright, so there we go, that's the block finished. Let's grab that, put it all in a group, and then instance that to the other side just to see what that's doing. And you can see with very little thought, we've blocked out a character. I mean, you could almost animate it like this, do that with a texture map, do that little guy with a texture map. I do want to model this in, but that would, I mean, you make him walk around and you're pretty much got something quite appealing. And I think we're at about an hour and a half and I've gone pretty slow, you know, taking you guys through each step. You know, this is, and imagine like you're a student or something doing a university project, or perhaps you're just a pro and you're at home and you want to just do something fun. This is the way everyone goes when, you know, you get a bit more experience. You're like, hey, this could just bash this out and do fun little animation with this guy. He's got long legs, skinny feet. He's going to animate very well. He's going to be pretty easy to animate. Lots of leeway for error.